Hi, hello, and welcome or welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, which is gender affirming piercings. What they are, why people might get them, why they're important, what they're quote unquote good for, all that good stuff. As a queer non-binary person, I want this to be a safe space for other queer people and especially trans people. So just a reminder to please be respectful and kind in the comments. I would encourage you to ask questions if you don't understand something, because the only way to learn is to ask questions and be curious about things. That is absolutely okay. But please remember that words absolutely do matter, and if you choose to use unkind ones, I will be deleting comments as always. If you're interested in learning more about piercings and body mods, feel free to subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you're feeling kind, because it really does help me out a lot. And let's get into the actual video. Now, first things first, what does gender affirming even mean? The term gender affirming is absolutely not exclusive to the trans or non-binary experience and simply refers to things or actions that make you feel reassured in your gender and the way that you express your gender identity. Of course, this can be tattoos, body mods, or piercings, as I will be discussing in this video, but it can also be things like hairstyles, clothing, makeup or lack thereof, surgeries, or even the way you sit or walk or talk or just like move through the world. Basically anything and everything that makes you go, this is what I want other people to see me as, and this is in alignment with how I feel on the inside being expressed on the outside. I think a really good example are probably the most performed gender affirming piercings, which are simple earrings, simple lobe piercings. They're a rite of passage for many young girls, sort of a ritual initiating them into femininity across many different cultures. Gender affirming piercings can also look like a mother who, after years of sharing her body with her children through pregnancy and breastfeeding, is finally done with all of that, and she gets her nipples and belly button pierced as a way to reclaim those body parts as her own, and as a reminder that she is more than just a mum, and she is also sexy and desirable. So defining gender affirming piercings as like a one size fits all description is very hard, dare I say impossible, because gender is such an individual experience for every single person, trans and cis alike, and therefore what gender affirming is to one person might absolutely not be for another person, and that's okay. It just is a very individual experience. So what is or isn't a gender affirming piercing is very much up to the individual getting the piercing. However, what is true for most, if not all, people getting piercings is that whether the piercing you're getting is gender affirming or not, it absolutely is a healing and empowering experience, at least for me, every time. Similar to decorating the walls of your house, of your apartment, of wherever you live, getting piercings, getting tattoos, getting mods is a way to make your body feel like home. So why do people do this, and why is it so important? Gender affirming piercings, like any other piercing really, are performed to help people express themselves outwardly and feel good about their bodies, which, like I said before, obviously isn't limited to but is especially important for trans and non-binary people. While the overwhelming majority of piercings, tattoos, and body modification as a whole is rooted in and comes from different indigenous cultures, modern body piercing as we know it today has its roots in the queer community. Piercings have for years been a way for people to outwardly affirm their gender, express their sexual identity, and also a way to practice bodily autonomy when medical systems and society as a whole restricts that. For example, the gay ear, so a single lobe piercing on the right side, I believe. It is kind of regional, but I think the overwhelming majority was one single lobe piercing on the right ear was used as a way to signal a gay man's sexuality to other gay men in the know when being homosexual was still illegal. Now, young queer men, particularly young gay men, are reclaiming that piercing, not as the secret code it used to be, but to outwardly let the world know that they are queer. They want to shout it from the rooftops because now they can. So the history behind that piercing, while it may be sad and painful, affirms these young men now in their gender identity as gay men. And similar to little girls being giddy and excited at the thought of getting their ears pierced with their mum or their sister or their friend, a trans woman might feel the exact same way because it is an initiation into outwardly expressing femininity. For a different trans woman, a gender affirming piercing might look like getting her navel pierced because she grew up in the 2000s and all the hot girls had one. Or it might just be a simple nose stud because her older sister had one and she always admired it on her. A trans man might feel the most manly and masculine he's ever been after he gets a bridge piercing or wears really chunky jewelry. Maybe for someone else, gender euphoria might simply look like getting the side of the lip pierced to mimic the way their favorite emo band member used to look way back in the day. Yes, I'm particularly looking at all the MCR fans who had gender envy every time they looked at Frank Iero. I see you. Yeah. Of course, genital piercings can play a huge role in helping trans people express or feel more aligned with the gender as well. While they can not only give the wearer confidence in a part of the body that feels foreign or hated, they can also function as a way to mimic anatomy that the person may not have yet and cause gender euphoria. For trans masculine people, this could, for example, look like multiple labia piercings with large diameter rings, since those usually change the way you would sit or walk in order to avoid getting hair or skin caught in the rings, and thus mimicking a scrotum. A trans feminine person might get nipple piercings, though I wouldn't consider those genital piercings, to mimic the look of larger nipples and potentially enhance sensitivity. Or she might get a Prince Albert piercing because they make it kind of difficult to pee standing up like it would be for a cis woman. There are no set rules for what is and isn't a gender affirming piercing because, like gender, they are such an individual experience. And whatever that may look like for you, gender affirming piercings are so important, not just for trans and non-binary people, but for everyone. I hope you learned something new today, and please let this be a reminder that no matter where you are on your journey, you're important and your life matters, so be gentle with yourself. Like I said earlier, if you do happen to have any more questions after watching this video, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Just be kind and I will try my best to help you answer them. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and listening to me yap. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!